All right, let's talk about the player who is now going into their third season. This is, of course, George Pickens, who, first year showed a lot of flashes, had over 800 yards, 4 touchdowns, and I think really said, okay, this is someone who could be a real player. Maybe he has wide receiver number one potential. And last year, I thought he really played like at the very least, fringe wide receiver one. I would say played like a wide receiver number one because he didn't exactly have the best quarterback play to really showcase it. And we'll get into the film what I think he did so well. He had 1,100 yards last year. He had actually 18.1 yards per catch, and a lot of it wasn't because he was catching the ball that far down the field, but because he was, getting yards after the catch, which again we'll get into in the film. But yeah, that's kind of what I want to talk in this video about. Is just how good is he, and what can his potential be? How good of a player can he be? Can he get into that elite wide receiver tier, or is he just going to be kind of just a good wide receiver? And I think another thing I want to get into is he going to fall into the trap that we've seen other Steelers receivers fall into of looking really good to start their career, but ultimately kind of flaming out as their career has gone on. So yeah, that's what I want to get into. Let's get into it. Before we get too far into the George Pickens film, though, let me just say real quick, I should mention I do have a movie channel. So if you like movies or are interested in hearing my thoughts on some movies, you can check that out. Link is in the description below. I do some movie reviews of like recent movies. I also have like some director tier list of all their movies, stuff like that, which is fun. So yeah, that seems like it's your kind of thing. Again, link is in the description. Check it out. But anyway, let's just get into the film. Starting off with this play, what's going to happen here is, so you see where Pickens is on this play. It's going to be a concept where the receiver who's closest towards the sideline, running a deep route, trying to push that defensive player further deep, push the corner further deep, and then Pickens cuts underneath him. That's the way this play is designed to work. But when this play begins, here's why, for me, when I watch him, I'm like, okay, there's a little bit something else here. When you compare him to maybe like a Chase Claypool, who started off looking really good for the Steelers, but ultimately didn't amount to too much, I think that Claypool was very much a just run his route and hope it works out kind of guy. Whereas I feel like Pickens, there's a lot more with that, more to him than just that, where you see him kind of faking as though he's going more over the middle. Now, this looks like it could just be a way where he's, getting in between the two Cleveland players, but he's still making an effort to kind of show that that's the direction that he's going. So therefore, when he does cut further towards the bottom of the screen, you see that right here, look at how open he is. And to me, this is part of what sets him apart from some of the other Steelers receivers that have come and gone, is that he is someone who doesn't just hopefully get open and make a good catch. He is someone who is actively getting himself open. As you see, good catch is able to make the play work. And maybe I'm being a bit reductive by saying the other guys, just hope they get open. They're still doing nice things, getting to the spot quickly, running the route well, all of that stuff. I just think Pickens is a much better route runner than those players were, in my opinion, the ones that have, since left the Steelers and gone on to do maybe okay things. Pickens can also do stuff like this, where it's going to be a one-on-one matchup. You see him running this underneath route on a 3rd down and 5. Okay, well, let's see what happens. You're going to see that Pickett takes the snap, looks over in Pickens' direction, and, due to the pick play, it's able to work. There's too much pick going on here. Saying the word pick too many times there. But you see that he is able to get open. Again, that's really a good concept. I wouldn't say this was anything too massive that Pickens was able to do. Again, give him credit, running the route well, all that. The simple stuff, but this is probably more of what I was saying, that the other guys, like Chase Claypool, was doing this stuff to get open, not necessarily doing great route running to get open. But this play is not yet over. Watch Pickens just, really turn on the jets and look at how many yards he picks up after the catch. And that's the other kind of thing that he has that he doesn't really get a ton of credit for, is he will just make these really good after the catch type things happen, which is obviously, very good if you're a fan of the Steelers. Like this one's a good example where it's going to be a one-on-one matchup, and it's just a slant route. Nothing too fancy right here, but okay, well, let's see what happens. When this play begins, you see again that good route running, kind of not giving away what you're doing, and then boom, cutting over the middle. There is a window for Pickens to make this catch. This is a pretty good situation to try and fire into. Trubisky does throw it, and watch Pickens not just make the grab, but he really jumps over a guy and gets into the end zone for a touchdown. He's just a difficult guy to bring down, and he kind of really I feel like, if anything, understands angles really well and knows where to go, and it's just very explosive. So when you add all those things together, it results in a really dangerous player. But again, I talk about all that stuff, but I still feel like I haven't gotten to the best part of George Pickens. This is the best part of his game, in my opinion, where it's going to be a one-on-one matchup right here, and you see the situation. Okay, one-on-one matchup. Well, let's see what happens. So, quarterback takes the snap, Pickett takes the snap, fires in this direction, and you see right here, is there separation? No, but this is the kind of thing where it's like, this is why Pickens, even if he's not open, he's open. Because watch him just go up and make that grab, and he's able to pick up a big completion right there. And having the ability to do something like that, it's always a bit confusing, because it's like, do you really just throw it to him every time? And the answer is no. Like, there are times when you should probably not do that 50-50 ball, but when he makes those catches so frequently, certainly in big spots, you want to take advantage of it. No bigger spot than something like this where, again, one-on-one matchup, and it's a pretty big spot in the game, really. I mean, the Steelers are down 2 points, so, okay, in theory, you could try to kick a game-winning field goal if you wanted, but it's worth noting the Ravens do have a couple of timeouts left, and so, hey, Ravens are going for broke, because giving up a touchdown isn't the end of the world, although certainly not something you want to have happen, and with Pickens running a deep shot down the field, it's worth looking into. Again, Pickett is going to take the snap, and he just says, yeah, let me throw it in this direction. Is there a lot of separation? No, but this is still probably a good situation right here. And as you see, beautiful throw and great catch by Pickens. Really good job by Pickens to run that route. And this is the type of stuff that Pickens can bring to the table. And this is what he consistently does for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on Pickens as a player. I think he's good. I think he's a really good player. To answer some of the questions I posed at the beginning of this video of, do I think that, can he be like an elite level guy? Well, again, we have to define elite, right? For me, elite is like top 5, or like one of like the top tier types of players. So for me, like Justin Jefferson is an elite guy. Do I see Pickens on that level? Not really. I just don't think I see quite enough consistency with him. And while I certainly think Pickens' best day is like as good as, even that I think you could argue isn't quite as good as it's certainly not as good as like Jefferson or Tyreek Hill on their best day, but it's at the very least as good as those guys on like a good day that they're having. So he certainly can take over football games. That's certainly a quality of his game. And to me, that is the testament of what makes a wide receiver number 1. I think there's certain things I think about, and I think that one of those things is if it's a one-on-one situation, do you trust that guy to win? And can you take over a game? Can you turn a loss into a win? To me, Pickens can do those things. So while I don't know if I would sit here and say that again, I want to see more consistency, but I don't really have any massive negatives other than, I guess the one negative I would bring up is sometimes I would like to see him get a little bit more separation. I know there's the whole, well, he's always open, he doesn't need separation. I still think I would rather every now and then see him get a little bit more separation, but other than that, that's kind of my only real nitpick, and at the end of the day, yeah, he is kind of always open. He still does make those great contested catches, so it doesn't matter too much, but just something how I feel. But yeah, those are my thoughts on all of this. Those are my thoughts on George Pickens. Let me know in the comments below. What are your thoughts on George Pickens as a player? Always love hearing from y'all. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.